I am Dr. D. Bakiraj, Assistant Professor in Department of Chemistry, St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Kadalur. In this video, I am going to discuss about principles of X-ray diffraction. Principles of X-ray diffraction. Here we are going to discuss with the fundamental principles for the X-ray diffraction. The first point is the X-ray diffraction is based on constructive interference of monochromatic X-rays and a crystalline sample. So the interaction between the X-rays and crystalline sample. So we have to analyze the interplanar distance of a crystalline sample. So that is the sample to be analyzed. And for that we are using X-rays. While we are passing the X-rays to the crystalline sample, it will reflect from the surface plane and the successive planes. So continuously more than one reflection from the receiver side we will receive. The recorder will receive multiple reflection beams of X-rays which comes out from the crystalline sample. So these number of reflected beams can be constructively collected in the recorder, and they can be analyzed from the reflected beams. We can calculate the extra distance traveled by the beam, which we have seen already in the Bragg's equation derivation. Hence the reflected beam from the first plane reflection and from the second plane reflection and third plane reflection likewise. So all the reflected beams of X-rays from the successive planes can be constructively recorded in the recorder, and using that we can calculate the interplanar distance of the crystalline sample using Bragg's equation. So from the Bragg's equation derivation we can find that in order to find the interplanar distance d, we need to calculate the extra distance traveled by the X-ray beam between the first order reflection and the second order reflection. So as we seen already in the Bragg's equation, the first order reflection falls at the atom A, point A, unreflected. The second order reflection, that is the reflection from the second plane, falls on the second plane at the point B, unreflected. So the extra distance traveled by the second plane because of the second plane of the crystal is nothing but the distance CB plus BD, which we have seen already in the X-ray diffraction Bragg's law equation derivation. So these extra distance traveled can be calculated in the recorder only by the constructive interference of the monochromatic X-rays on the crystalline sample. And during this, the second point, during this X-ray diffraction studies, the X-rays are generated by a cathode ray tube, generated by the cathode ray tube, and then filtered to produce a monochromatic radiation, and then finally collimated to concentrate and directed towards the sample. The X-rays are filtered, produced after producing from the cathode ray. It is filtered and collimated and to concentrate and directed towards the sample, that is nothing but a crystalline sample. Then third point, for every set of crystal planes, one or more crystals, either one or at least more than one, so more crystals will be in correct orientation to give the correct Bragg angle to satisfy Bragg's equation. So in order to satisfy the Bragg's equation, the crystals which are on the similar direction, similar orientation, can reflect the X-ray beam with the same angle. So all those crystals can be called as a set. So these set of crystal planes which are on the same orientation can give the same Bragg angle to satisfy the Bragg's equation. Then fourth point, each diffraction line is made up of a large number of small spots. A large number of small spots, when received continuously, it is equivalent to a line. So each diffraction line is made up of a large number of small spots, each from a separate crystal. So one crystal will give one spot, another crystal will give another spot. When we receive continuously from number of crystals, the spots can be collectively looked as line. The fifth point, each spot is so small as to give the appearance of a continuous line. So when the spots are small, we cannot differentiate the difference or gap between the one spot and another spot. So when we are receiving continuously the spots, and it looks like a line, the appearance of a continuous line. And a crystal can have multiple planes. So normally if you consider a cube, it may have 6 planes, right? So similarly, each crystal plane is thus capable of diffraction. If suppose one diffraction from one plane we will receive, means we can also get another type of diffraction from different angle from another sides, another plane. So each crystal plane is thus capable of diffraction. Then the seventh principle of X-ray diffraction is nothing but the wavelength of X-rays was about the same order as the interatomic distance in a crystal. The interatomic distance and the X-rays should have the similar wavelength. And using this X-ray diffraction technique, it is useful to study the crystals in 2 different methods. One is rotating crystal technique, another one is powder technique. So those 2 techniques we can see separately in a separate video. These are the fundamental principles of X-ray diffraction studies. In order to study the crystal, in order to find the interplanar distance of a crystal, by using that we can achieve what type of crystal it is. In order to derive the crystal, all those fundamental principles, the crystal and the X-rays has to satisfy all those fundamental principles. So the procedure of the X-ray diffraction studies should satisfy all those fundamental principles. Thank you.